Hello everyone, welcome to another series. This is a series in Valheim that is really a beginner's how-to series, mainly focusing on building because I'm terrible at combat, to be honest, and I don't enjoy it anyway, but I do enjoy building. Now, I'm not the world's best builder by any stretch of the imagination. I would call myself just a intermediate beginner builder, but I think I've got a few hints and tips that can help the new player brand new to Valheim, who's decided to give it a go because the friends have asked them to do it. And basically my friends have asked me to do a series on building, but I thought I'd do it this way because I know the ones that have asked me are brand new beginners or they're more experienced. A couple of them are more experienced but are interested in the building aspect. But I want to build it at the beginning. I want to build in a way that a beginner can build. And then later on in the series, I'll bring in one of my more advanced characters that build more advanced builds. Okay, so the first thing you do when you drop in the world is look around inside. There's nearly always sticks and stones, which will give you your first recipes. Probably not enough stuff to actually build your first thing, which will be an axe, but it'll get you started. Then run around the outside. There's always berries and mushrooms around the outside somewhere for you to get you started. You need to eat regularly to build up your stamina and health. As you can see, gives you health and stamina. You have 3 food slots, and each one has to be a different food. Doesn't matter what foods you use, just make sure that they're all different. Now, the enemies that you find in this area, you can generally defeat with punches, which is just as well, because you're going to need to until you've got enough wood to build yourself an axe. Now, you have the option of building first off an axe or a club. And a club is a better offensive weapon, but don't forget that an axe can be a club too, a weapon too. So craft your axe first, because if you've got an axe, you can you can chop down trees and build things. The meat from these is good, and actually the meat from these and the meat from boars is classed as 2 different types of meat. So that flipping bird. Now, I'll put this seed in the description because it's an excellent seed if you're brand new to Valheim and you want to explore at your leisure, do a lot of the building stuff, and then slowly get into doing the more advanced things. Go away, bird. Doing the more advanced things like boss fights and stuff like that. I mean, you will need to do the first boss fairly early, as soon as you've got a bow, because you'll need the pickaxe, and the only way to get the pickaxe, at least in vanilla Valheim, is to kill the boss for his antlers. They will attack you, the boars, if you get too close, but you can punch them. They'll give you meat or leather, scraps, or both. But as you can see, that's the start drop zone there. And this is a really nice area to build in. You're coming down to the ocean. You need to travel in this game via the ocean to get things. So being close to the ocean is always useful when you build. Otherwise, later on in the game, when you do start sailing across to other islands, it won't be just a matter of, do I want to go and sail or not? It'd be a matter of, do I want to move up in my armor? Yes, I do. Well, then I have to go to a different island and get the stuff that island produces, or just stay here and build. Up to you. All right, so now I want to build a stone axe. As I said, axes can be a weapon as well as an implement or a tool. I want to... these things are a nuisance too. You can also hit things with the torch that you give them right at the beginning. You land with a torch in your hand. Well, in your backpack. Please make your own choice. Get to chopping wood early, because you need to build somewhere to have a bed. Because if you get killed, at least it gives you a spawn point. Not that it'll matter too much on this seed, because the spawn point's just over there, and if you die without a bed, that's where you'll spawn. So if you're building here, you're fine. Now, trees, you do get some fall damage from trees. As you can see, it uses quite a bit of the stamina or energy, whatever you want to call it. And you don't want your trees to go in the water, because they're really hard to get out of the water and get the wood from. As you can see, it takes quite a lot of chopping to get some wood from a tree. And I was trying not to destroy those bushes, because those are the bushes that the berries will grow on. Sometimes it can't be helped. Right. Now, we need to get down a crafting bench. So we need to, first of all, we need to make a hammer to craft. And lay down a crafting bench. Make sure the hammer goes in the right number. And or the number that you're familiar with, that you want, and just stick it down anywhere. What we're going to be doing is repairing this house and using it as a quick and dirty base to start with. Doesn't cost anything to repair So if you can find a little house to repair, it's always a good option. Now this is a little. I prefer 3x3. But for now, I just got to get a bed down. So let's do that. What we need to be able to sleep is a roof and a fire. So I'm going to build a fire out here. The fire does not have to be in the house. You still get the warmth if you're on the other side, unless they've changed things. But the other thing you can do, which is what I'm going to do, is with your axe, destroy the walls. Careful, you don't step in the fire because you burn, like I am. It goes out after a minute or two. Yeah. Go away. Anyway, put a little wall on the fire. Well, actually, put a little wall in here first. You can choose whether you want the beam on the, or the smooth side facing out. For this build, I don't care because it's coming down again soon. But for now, just going to enclose my fire with a little back to front roof. To let the smoke out. Now I need to eat another berry. And I need to put, oh, go away, bird. And then I need to put the rest of the roof on. So let's do the 45 degrees since this roof is already 45 degrees. And roofs I find are actually easier to put in from the inside. And you can pretty it up if you want. It's up to you what you do with it from here on. You don't need to put those top bits. In fact, I'm going to take that top bit out because I need the wood to make a door. And I need the wood from here as well. The next thing I would normally do is build a chest, because if you die, and your stuff's in a chest, it's always there. You don't have to run to a tombstone to pick up your stuff other than the stuff that you were wearing and dropped. But in this build, because it's so small, go away, bird. I'm not going to have room. I don't think. I might be able to stick one at the end of my bed there. I don't know. Now the fire might have gone out. I might have smothered it. Yeah, the roof was too low. So two things: you can die of smoke inhalation if the roof is too low. I need some more wood. Or the fire can go out if the roof is too low. Oh, I've got to do the crafting station. That's what I went in there for. I should have the wood for it because I've just destroyed one. Put it here? No, put it here. And now Let me destroy this and put a 45-degree roof up. I should get that wood back to be able to build a 45-degree roof. And that'll just let the smoke out a bit better. The other thing you can do is build these sides on it, but I need more wood to do that. So now I've got a bed and a crafting station. I'm going to gather wood and flint because my next thing I'm making, oh, two things, a cooking station and a flint axe. Flint axes are better. Oh, there's a bit of wood there, but you can't get it because you drop your weapons in the water. So flint. Flint is found along all waterways, and it's basically your first upgrade to the stone axe. There's a flint knife and a flint axe. Let me see how much flint I've got. 7. Yes, I've got enough to make a flint axe. So let's go back to chopping trees for a minute. I need the wood to... As you can see, my stamina gets low really quickly. So I need to upgrade my food. Now. And I need to make a club. But first things first, let's get the flint axe. I'll finish off building later. I'm just taking out all these little trees for the moment. You usually only get 1 wood, maybe 2 if you're lucky. Berries. So I need to make a cooking station. That has to be my next build before even the club or anything like that. Can chop down these tree trunks. They won't grow into a tree, so you might as well chop them. Get the wood out of them. This one as well. You don't get a lot of daylight in this game, so you have to make the most of it. My axe is broken, so now I have to go in to fix it. So you fix all of these things on the workbench. Every time you come into the house, fix them on the workbench. Okay, let's see if we've got enough wood for everything we want to do. Cooking rack first, because that'll give us a higher tier of food. So, crafting, cooking station. And because we got some necktails, a piece of necktail and a piece of boar, hopefully, we should have a couple of bits of food worth eating. Next is fix our weapons. If we have a flint axe available, we make it. Well, I do, anyway. You do what you want. So you hear the hiss and pick up the food. And I don't have any more. So tomorrow the next job will be food. Workbench again. And a club can be useful. And a hoe. I'm going to go for the hoe first, because you need the hoe to flatten the ground, and I'm going to show you how to do that in the next episode. Hammer, club, and club. Alright, so club goes in number 2, hoe goes in 5, hammer goes in 8. I try to keep things in the numbers I would normally use them in, because otherwise I get confused. Now let's see if I've got enough to make a chest. Yeah, I do. So I stick a chest in here. And now we can put all of our excess stuff in the chest. It saves encumbrance. Not food. Keep your food. Keep some food in your chest if you've got a stack, split it. So you've always got some food if you get killed and respawn. I'm going to need that for the morning. Put your stone, feathers, seeds, all of those things in. You can see anything blue is what you're actually wearing. So don't put that in there. And then if you've got a fire and a roof and a bed and there's no enemies nearby, you can sleep. So I've set myself, put the spawn point, and now I'm going to sleep. And here's morning. So morning means it'll soon be light. Let's have something to eat. So from here, then it's your choice. Oh, flipping bird. It's your choice what you want to do. You can explore, you can build, but you've got a secure home base to come back to with all the basics that you need. What I'm going to do is show you how to flatten ground. So it's more difficult when you don't have an pickaxe, and you won't have a pickaxe until you kill the first boss. But you choose a bit of land, the height that you want everything to be. Now, don't build it too high, because otherwise you're going to have to build lots of steps to get down, unless you particularly want it really high, overlooking, because the hoe, which we made overnight, levels everything to the level you're standing on. So see the concentric circles? Now, you start basically in the center with the circle around you and flatten the ground. That way you can see easier. Now, see how the concentric circles are moving out, and you see at the top of the circles, they're disappearing. That means the land needs to be lowered there. So generally, if it's not too high, you can lower it with the hoe. Don't go by what the land itself looks like, because the textures can be quite deceiving. Look at the rings. And if the rings are all there and not disappearing, then the land is flat. Or it's not too high, should I say. As you can see, I'm cutting in and making a solid edge around where it was, which I'll sort out a bit later. Uses a lot of energy, hoeing, so just be aware of that. Now have a look at the center of the circle and see that stick, that yellow stick that's sticking up. That's telling me I need to raise land to make it level with where I am. So you can do that two ways. The first way, the easy way, is just to hoe it, and often it will work. So my rule of thumb, especially in land like this, you can generally, as long as the fall is not too much, you can generally flatten it out quite easily with just a hoe. If it's persistent, so what I do is I come here, I have a look, that land there needs to be lowered a bit, and I'll hit it a couple of times and wait for the dust to settle, and then look again, and there's a persistent bit there that will not flatten. That's where you would need a pick. I don't have a pick to show you because I started it on a new character. But what you basically do is you leave your marker there, you swap out to your pick, you hit once and once only with it, and then level the ground again. And generally it'll work. And then you pick out, you attack these things with picks as well. This here is actually flattening really well. But if it wasn't, what you would do is you come here, let's try, say there. You leave your marker there and you right click and say raise ground. Now you need stone in your inventory to do that, and it's not going to let me raise the ground. But you just click once with the left mouse button and it'll bring the land up, and then click again with your hoe and it will flatten it all out again. If you click more than once, you might find that the land, you need to then take a pick to it to bring it back down to a level. But this is fine. So that is relatively flat. There's a few little spots, persistent spots there. See, that won't raise up. I give it 3 hits. If it won't raise up, then it tells me I need to use some stone. Let's grab some stone. Generally, I think it's 4. What I missed. So let's try 4. Back to the hoe. Is okay. Where was that spot that was being difficult? This spot here. 1, 2, 3, still there. Leave the marker on it. Right click, go raise ground. 1 click, and then back to flatten. And oops, the hoe needs fixing. Now you flatten it out again, and it will be nice and flat now. There we are, nice and flat. It says invalid placement when it's too far from a piece of land that's already been flattened. So you can go out quite a way. I mean, eventually you'll reach the end of your reach there, and then it won't place. But it'll say invalid placement quite close if there's land that hasn't been flattened between you and it. So once you flatten the land like that, you can go ahead and build straight on the ground. Let's go to the hammer. Build straight on the ground with flooring, and it'll be supported all the way. There's another alternative. Let me get some wood. That's to build the house up on supports, and for that you don't need to flatten ground. But knowing how to flatten ground is always useful. By the way, if the logs fall on your house, you will damage your house. So just be careful. Also damage these things if it hits them, and boars and things like that. These things always appear when you're cutting wood. See the log up here. There's a few trees that got knocked down in the process. Pick them up. The little trees on it. So now I've got my house that I can live in for now. Now I can start building the beginning of the actual base that I want. So this is how I do it. I don't put it flat on the ground. Let's start at the back. I use these half walls. Whatever you want. 5 is a good number. Anything other than 5, you're struggling with supports. So we'll start. We'll do a 5x5 base. It's quite big, really. There's plenty enough room for everything you want. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Then an entryway. 2 by whatever entry, that'll do. There. And then here I'm going to put, this is 1, 2, 3. Let's do it here. Fireplace. I like a 2 width fireplace. Now you put floor on, and floor everything except your fireplace. Anything you destroy is fully refunded. So I've run out of wood again. So yeah, you just keep chopping down trees. Like most survival games, it's chop, find some wood, find a stone or 2, kill some minor mobs, make an axe, and chop wood. It's the same in pretty much every survival game. chose this back tree because I was hoping it would fall and knock down the damage the grayling. I was hoping it would knock down this other tree. So the more things you can get your logs to hit, the more damage they take, and therefore less hitting you have to do on your axe. So you can push logs. Just beware not to push them into the water because they're really hard to get out. Pick them up the hill. They break like that. Saves your axe. Just don't get stuck in between them because they will kill you. Damage you severely, at least. And then you run them back up the hill. And no point chasing your grayling around because it just wastes energy, and they will come eventually to you. Don't push it again. Oops, didn't quite go that time. So they should take a lot less hitting now. There you go, 2 hits. And 3 hits. And I can see my axe is getting low on health. I'm going to go back in and fix it. I actually need some meat. So pick up some meat, carry my club, some more meat. There's generally boars up the top of the hill here, on this seed at least, and over in that forest there. There's a boar. Need meat and other scraps to be able to start making a bow. Oh, well, you don't need the meat for the bow, but you do need the leather scraps or wood. It's handy to find some necks or some mushrooms this time. You can creep up on boars. Not boar, wait, boars as well, but deer. And deer give you hides rather than leather scraps. But I've forgotten what key it is just to creep. Let me see. I think it's the... That's walk. Aha. Control. Left control. If you're a Xbox user or game controller user, I'm sorry, I don't know what the key is. Let's get some more fruit, berries. Go back down and do some more building because we're going to lose the light soon. Railing. Club, there's quite a bit of timing involved. But let's build. Then it becomes too dark to see where you're placing things. That piece of wood from under there. And I'll leave it for tonight. I'm starting to get to the level where I can't see. Shut the door, repair everything. What meat we got? Got one more to cook. While we're waiting, we put all of our stuff in the chest. There's no room for that. Don't really need it. But anything that can stack, you put in the chest. Except for wood, of course, because you're going to be using the wood to build. There. There should be another piece of meat somewhere. Sometimes the meat drops down into the fire and it can be a nuisance. If you get close enough, you'll pick it up. Alright, so I'm going to say good night. Thank you for joining me on this little journey, adventurous journey. I hope you learnt something from it, and I'll see you next time. I'll teach you something else, hopefully. Alright, good night.